करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
The poem that we'll take up for discussion is Laodamia. This poem book by Swamiji, titled The Select English Poems, is a collection of poems, and they are interpreted and commented by Swamiji from Vedantic point of view. And we said in the beginning that all the poems in this book convey one or two values which we understand from Vedantic perspective. Values are those which, when we practice, takes us to the goal. So we saw various poems right from the beginning, which is the turkey and the ant, till the last one. What we saw was a portion of Julius Caesar drama, Mark Antony's Oration. So out of the 20 poems that are there in the book, 17, which includes the letter to the Earl of Chesterfield also, 17 can be classified as short poems, and the last 3 poems are relatively long poems. The last 3 poems have a common theme running in them, which is the devastating nature of the mind with reference to attachment. What happens when we get attached to an object or being is very clearly explained in Vedanta, and that is very practically seen in these 3 poems. The 3 poems are Laodamia by William Wordsworth, Andrea del Sarto by Robert Browning, and Sorab and Rustum by Matthew Arnold. Laodamia talks about a woman's infatuation or attachment to a man, in this case wife to the husband, and what is the sort of consequence of it. Andrea del Sarto is a very sad, melancholic poem which talks about the man's infatuation towards woman. And the final poem, which is Sorab and Rustum, is talking about the attachment between father and son and how that causes devastation. Swami Ramatirtha, I think it comes in the first volume, I do not know the page number, but in the very first edition that we had during our academy times, I think page 289, because that is one portion that Swamiji always very fondly recalls. He talks about the deadly nature of this attachment. He says, anyone who gets himself attached to an object or being shall suffer. This is irrefragable law, he says. Nobody can change this law. Either that object will be taken away, or there will be a rupture in the relationship, or in extreme case, he says, the person will die. All this is because of the attachment. And then he says, don't listen to this listlessly. He is giving a lecture in America. Don't listen to this listlessly. He is probably looking at the audience reaction and saying, see, we can always say Swami Ramatirtha is one great saint who was only hell-bent on speaking the truth and nothing else, and without any fear, without any favor, he was just standing on the truth only, and what he conveyed was from the absolute standpoint of truth only. It really did not matter to him how many audience were there, how much they understood or not, but he was just roaring the truth. But it is not that he just wanted to convey what he know or something. He wanted to convey the message to the audience. In fact, our Swamiji says, all other great masters declared the truth, only Swami Ramatirtha explained the truth. He explained Vedanta. He explained Vedanta in the most practical terms. But he did never compromise from his stance, and he gave out the truth. And there he says it really does not matter if all of you appreciate or don't appreciate, Rama has to speak the truth. And there this powerful statement comes that don't listen listlessly, let this truth sink deep into your hearts. So he is talking about what will happen when attachment is there in the personality, when it expresses itself. It can be that you can be generally very good in various areas, but in one particular area if you have that attachment, that is going to cause distress. There is no escaping from that. Now this is not a curse, this is not again to just threaten us. It is only talking about the effect of effect of our own mind, nothing else. So therefore, what we need to work on is how to, and all of us are attached. All of us are attached at various levels. So it's only the intensity that that varies. How to rise from our level and go to higher levels of attachment. I am putting that word attachment here in a positive way, and eventually grow over all attachments. See, it is very easy, everybody knows, and all the masters and everybody says don't be attached, don't be attached, don't be attached to money, don't be attached to family, don't be attached to power. All this is very easy to say, but at every stage, mind needs something or the other. Clinging attachment is always there. Mind needs something to hold on. And this is where probably Vedanta is very, I would say, effective. That to say don't be attached is quite easy, but the question is what are you positively giving him to hold on to? So don't go there, you can say, but where should I go? Because I have to go somewhere, where should I go? So therefore a proper direction has to be given to that person where he should go. Exactly like that, if you say don't get attached to all these things, even if you understand it intellectually and you say it's fine, but what should I then do to the mind? Where should it get attached? So Vedanta says, I will expose you to higher things in life. You need to develop taste for that. Of course it requires effort and all things, but I am going to expose you to that. Once you slowly get hold of the higher, get attached to the higher, then the lower things will automatically drop off. And particularly in the context of what world or universe celebrates as love, this has to be carefully understood, because everybody definitely has this feeling of love, and that wanting to be loved is also very universal in nature. Therefore, love is that which sustains all the relationship in this universe. But that love, when it is contained within a small circle, turns sour, and that turns as attachment. Therefore, how we can look at it positively is that we need to rise above the attachment by making ourselves more and more unselfish. That's all it is. It is selfishness in the love that produces attachment. So therefore, if you are able to take that selfish element away from it, then what is there is actually pure love, and that is what Vedanta encourages actually. So these three poems here talk about the effects of attachment. And this poem, Laodamia, is a fantastic poem where, see, I really do not know how we are going to go through this, because it's a very tough thing to go through this big poems. And particularly the next two are just to be experienced, that's all, because it is going to narrate, Andrea does at a particular, at least Saurabh and Rustam, you can say there's a story involved, and there's a story, though it goes to very, very large number of pages. It is an adaptation from Persian epic, it's an epic by itself. Andrea del Sarto it's one of the fantastic poems again, but how to go through that, I really do not know. But at least in Laodamia, there is pure Vedanta. As we said when we studied Daffodils also, we see in works of William Wordsworth very many pearls of wisdom, directly what we can relate to Vedanta. See, the background of this poem is very, it's based on the legend of Greek epics, okay. So that there is, I think in 2004 there was a movie named Troy. I think Brad Pitt and others acted in it. That is based on this. What is given here is related to that only. So Paris is the prince of Troy, the younger prince of Troy, and his elder brother is Hector. And they visit one of the kingdoms of Greece, and Helen, who is the wife of a Greek king, falls in love with Paris and elopes with him back to Troy. And the king there takes it as a great insult, and he wants to attack Troy for this and punish Troy for this and finish off them. And therefore all the regents and state kings of the Greek empire, they are called and they have a meeting, and they say that all of us should together attack Troy. And Protesiláus is one of the princes there, Greek princes. Thessaly or some province, I mean it comes in the poem also. And Protesiláus' wife or the queen is Laodamia. And the Greek armada, which with a very large number of ships, the fleet of ships is in thousands maybe in number, they all sail towards Troy, and there is going to be definitely an ensuing battle. Some accounts say that it went on for years also like that, but I do not know the authenticity or accuracy what is being portrayed in the movie, but that is like that, it is said. There is a oracle of Delphi which has predicted that in the ensuing battle, of all the people who travel from Greece towards Troy, whoever touches the Trojan soil first, he will die. For sure he is going to be slain. This is the oracle. This is the prediction. Now, while he is going, Protesiláus is very much thinking about various things, and he is extremely, inspired. And then as a true warrior and a true Kshatriya, he makes sure that he jumps into the Trojan soil first. And as fate would have it, he gets killed in the battle by Hector. Now this news reaches Laodamia, and she is very upset, and she is extremely attached to Protesiláus. So she implores to gods. She does her puja, whatever sacrifice and other things she does, and because of her prayer, the god they are moved, as it were, and Jove, the chief of all gods, he makes sure that she gets the company of Protesiláus for a time period of 3 hours. And what is the conversation between Protesiláus and Laodamia in that 3 hours is the poem here. And in that poem, in that portion, Protesiláus gives various beautiful gems of wisdom. And ultimately, after 3 hours, he has to go back. Laodamia is not able to take this, and she falls down there dead. It is a tragic end to this poem. So this is the background. As I said, there is story-wise there is nothing to be greatly understood. This is the background, and it is a legend based on the Greek epic. So Wordsworth in early 19th century has retold this, and this is poetry that has come out, whatever is known as a romantic era or something of the English poetry, like that it is. And this poetry is also critically very well acclaimed poetry, and probably finds place in the textbooks of various various schools or colleges, like that it is. So we'll go get into the poem here. And being a long poem, we don't have the rendering of this poem by Swamiji. All other things still Mark Antony's oration and a letter to the Earl of Chesterfield he has read out in that audio book called the Select English Poems. You can in fact get it from the Vedanta Academy website. It's really worth it. Last three poems are too big for anybody to read out just like that, and in audiobook form you may not be able to completely listen and relate to it also. Probably that's the reason. With sacrifice before the rising morn, vows have I made by fruitless hope inspired, and from the infernal gods mid shades forlorn, of night my slaughtered lord have I required, celestial pity I again implore, restore him to my sight, great Jove, restore. This is the prayer by Laodamia. So early in the morning, whatever is the ritual of sacrifice and other puja that they had in their culture and civilization, he does. Maybe animal sacrifice also, we do not know what it is. So all those due rituals that are to be done to gods as prescribed, she does that and undertaken vows. And from the infernal gods are those referring to the gods in the netherworld, like the Yamaloka type of thing, like the equivalent of that. My slaughtered lord have I required. And what does she want? What is she asking for? She is asking for her husband back, her lord back, which is Protesiláus. Celestial pity I again implore. I really seek the sympathy and pity of the gods. Restore him to my sight. Give him back to my sight. Okay, we can literally take to the sight because that's what is going to happen, but in a deeper meaning, she wants him back in his life actually. Great Jove, restore. Jove is like Indra, you can see. He is the god of all gods. He is the supreme god there. So she is making a direct appeal to the supreme god here. So speaking, and by fervent love endowed, with faith the suppliant heavenward lifts her hands, while like the sun emerging from a cloud, her countenance brightens and her eye expands. Her bosom heaves and spreads, her stature grows, and she expects the issue in repose. So because of her prayer, something is happening. The suppliant is the petitioner here, who is Laodamia. Fervent love refers to a genuine affection here, okay, endowed with faith. So she has a firm faith in her love and firm faith in the gods, so she lifts her hands upwards, and therefore the effect of which, what happens is that, like the sun emerging from a cloud, a sort of a bright thing appears now, something is appearing. Looking at it, her countenance brightens, her face is brightened, her eye expands and her bosom heaves. So she is feeling something extraordinary within her because of what is happening there. Her stature grows and she expects the issue in repose. Her trust in whatever her prayer is now doubled, and she is expecting something very positive now. She is looking upwards. Suddenly, oh terror, what had she perceived? Oh joy, what does she look on? Whom does she behold? Her hero slain upon the beach of Troy? His vital presence? His corporeal mould? It is, if sense deceive her not, it is he, and God leads him, winged Mercury. So there is a sudden emotion here. Oh terror, oh what is it? Like that it is. Oh joy. So what does she look? Does she look at the same figure which is of her husband, the hero who is slain upon the Troy beach? Is it he in essence? Is there a bodily presence also that is coming along with him? Is it just the sort of a figure or apparition or a spirit? She says, if my senses do not deceive me, it is he. He is actually coming. And who is leading him? The winged god Mercury. Mercury is probably the god who is in charge of transport. Maybe, I do not know. So he is the sort of the departmental god there. So he is asked to accompany. He may be a messenger of God, whoever it is. The great god Jove has given him the order and permission to accompany Protesiláus because of the power of the prayer of Laodamia, that he must be there with him. So he comes along with him to meet Laodamia here. Mild Hermes spake and touched her with his wand, that calms all fear. Such grace hath crowned thy prayer, Laodamia, that at Jove's command thy husband walks the paths of upper air. He comes to tarry with thee 3 hours space. Accept the gift, behold him face to face. Hermes refers to the same Mercury god, and he speaks. First of all, he has a magic wand with which he touches Laodamia so that she is calm, because she is extremely excited. She doesn't know what to make of it. As you know, it could be a slight fright is there, but joy is there. All mixed emotions are there, and because of that extreme excitement, she need to be first calm, because before that calmness is there, whatever he is going to speak, she is not going to probably understand properly. So he calms her. That calms all her fear, and he says, your prayer is really worth it. Such grace hath crowned thy prayers, Laodamia. So the God of gods is extremely pleased with your prayer, that at Jove's command thy husband walks the paths of upper air. Look, your husband is there walking the upper air. He is there in the atmosphere, meaning there is somewhere above, near the clouds. There he is coming. He comes to spend time with you, but for here he makes very clear that he is going to be with you for 3 hours. See, a person who is dead cannot come back. This is the law. But because of your extreme perseverance, you are able to get his company for 3 hours. It really makes us reflect on our own story in the Purana of Satyavan and Savitri, where, of course, there is no comparison at all, but I am saying Savitri is of a very different caliber altogether, and that is why very recently there was also in March there is a function when last month, in Tamil we say, in Sanskrit it is Magh and Falgun. That month when this is ending and that is being born, in that sacred moment, all the women, married women and even those who are not married, they do this Savitri Vrata, and they tie the yellow thread around themselves for the welfare of husband, or for seeking a good husband, like that. The puja is there, and it is dedicated to Savitri because she is maybe greater than goddess also. What is her greatness is that she knew when she married Satyavan also what is his fate. Within a year he is going to die, and for a year, and her love was so intense and so pure, she made all the correct vow and other thing, and then finally she fights with Lord Yama, fights in the sense in a very, very positive way, and with her power of tapas, power of fidelity, she wins Satyavan back, and it is sort of like a very, very, a rare occurrence. It never happens like that. In our Puranic stories also we find like that, very, very pure. Otherwise, it is just not possible that a person dies, will come back at all. Here, Laodamia cannot be compared with Savitri, obviously. Okay. Because we are going to see, it is not that she has obviously been a good wife or all other things, but she is a normal person as far as the relationship is concerned, and is extremely attached to him. But at the level of whatever she has done, she has regained the presence with Protesiláus for just 3 hours time. That's all it is. And that is the level at which she has to accept him. Therefore he says, the God says, Mercury says, accept the gift. It has been a gift, special gift. That is, even this is a great thing actually. Nobody will get like this an opportunity. Accept the gift. Behold him face to face. You can now see him face to face. You can interact with him face to face. This is the recommendation and suggestion of Mercury. And then he goes away, leaves them alone. Forth sprang the impassioned queen, her lord to clasp. Again that consummation she essayed, but unsubstantial form eludes her grasp. As often as that eager grasp was made, the phantom parts, but parts to reunite, and reassume his place before her sight. Now she forgets everything, she is extremely joyous and extremely happy, so she springs to embrace Protesiláus. And as and when she tries to do this, again that consummation she has said, whenever she tries to do this, she tries to get that oneness with him, with this embrace. Whenever she tries, the unsubstantial form eludes her grasp, because it is not him with the real body that he had, he has come. It is an apparition, it is a form, it is like a spirit, a ghost type of a thing, of Protesiláus only. Okay. So it's in a, suppose I am just saying in a technical language, his subtle body is only there, like that it is. So, but it is appearing in front of her. So in that unsubstantial form, she tries to embrace the phantom parts, but to reunite, as though it is going, the hands are going through that form, but that phantom reunites. Nothing can be done to it, but she is not able to physically touch the form and reassume his place before her sight. He is standing there as it is, but she is not able to do anything except now see him. That's all. Now she speaks. Protesiláus, lo, thy guide is gone. Confirm, I pray, the vision with thy voice. This is our palace. Yonder is thy throne. Speak, and the floor thou treadest on will rejoice. Not to appall me have the gods bestowed this precious boon, and blessed a sad abode. She says, your guide is gone. Hermes, Mercury, the winged Mercury who came with you, he is gone. So I say, I am able to see you, but please confirm that vision with your voice. Speak something to me. And do you understand, this is our palace, this is your throne. If you speak, the entire floor here will rejoice. You know, they know everything, and everybody knows that you are here back. And it is not to dissatisfy me, it is not to, put me into further sadness that gods have given you back to me. This precious boon they have not given for that end. So therefore, you have to speak. This sad abode will bloom again, blossom again when you speak. This is her appeal. Now Protesiláus speaks, because like in the Bhagavad Gita we see the first chapter throughout Arjuna speaks and there is not much philosophy there. Only when Sri Bhagavan Vacha comes in second chapter that we can relate to the philosophy. I mean, those who are interested in the core substance of what Gita is wanting to convey, it starts from the second chapter. Even the great Mahatmas like Adi Shankaracharya starts their commentary from towards the end of the Arjuna Vacha in the second chapter, which is from 7th, 8th, 9th verse, like that it is. And after 10th verse, when Sanjaya concludes, Lord begins to speak, and that is where the real Gita begins. Like that, as and when here Protesiláus begins to speak, that is when we can see some pearls of wisdom coming. Otherwise, it is just the emotion and psychology that is happening from the point of view of Laodamia here. Great Jove Laodamia doth not leave his gifts imperfect. Spectre though I be, I am not sent to scare thee or deceive, but in reward of thy fidelity. And something also did my worth obtain, For fearless virtue bringeth boundless gain. Here is like a very famous and first statement that we can underline. As I said, we will point out there are very many gems of wisdom that will come in this poem, and one of that is this: for fearless virtue bringeth boundless gain. He says, the great Java, the great Lord, he does not leave his gifts imperfect. That means whatever God gives us, whatever is we deserve based on our karma, the fruits of the action that is being given to us, it is actually his prasad, and his prasad is perfect. Whatever is given, remember, that is perfect, and that is going, you cannot better it in any way. So first you understand this, he says. That point what he is trying to make us, that I am given to you as a company for 3 hours is the best thing that has happened to you. So spectre, though I am looking like a ghost here, I am not sent here to scare thee or deceive. It is not for me, I am sent to deceive you or to make you afraid. No, not at all. But it is in reward of thy fidelity. You have earned this. See, to the extent that each and every person puts his tapas or puts his effort, they will be rewarded. And this is the law. The law giver or the law controller is the Supreme Lord, who only makes sure that this law functions. The karma is done by the individual, but the results of the karma is not in his hands. Now the results of the karma based on the law is, and the karma is jada by itself, it will not give the fruit by itself. There is somebody who is a conscious entity who is responsible to give this fruit. And that conscious entity, who is the all-knower and all-controller, he knows how each and everybody functions, every individual functions. He takes everything into account and gives the fruits of the karma to each and every individual at the appropriate time, in the appropriate quantum and quality also. And that is the thing which is perfect. Everything has a divine purpose behind it also. And everything is what you have paid for and earned. At the time of payment, you may not know what you are really getting, but the resultant is like that only. And here, all said and done, with all her sacrifices and vows, Laodamia has earned this. And whatever she has earned is actually perfect at that point of time. And here what we can learn a lesson from Vedantic point of view is, irrespective of whatever is given to you in life, treat it as God's prasad, because that is what you require at that point of time for your evolution. Suppose a mother is there, the child is suffering from a stomach ache, and somebody in the street is selling jackfruit and going. So the child is adamant that he wants jackfruit. The mother does not wish to give him jackfruit because she is extremely caring for the child, she is extremely loving the child, and she knows it is not good for him to eat, so she ignores. Even as the child is adamant, she ignores. The child may even run out of the house. Somebody who is in the neighbor seeing the child cry, they may even get a piece of jackfruit for that boy, and for a temporary phase even the child may think that the aunt in the neighborhood is greater than his mother also. All these things can happen, but that aunt doesn't have a direct relationship with the child. It is the mother who has a direct relationship with the child. And later, because of eating the jackfruit, he cries because he is not able to take that pain. At that point of time when he was asking, he did not know the repercussions, but now it has happened. So then the mother forcefully maybe gives a slap to the child and puts him on her lap and forcefully feeds him with castor oil. Okay. And that is the sort of, what to say, the best gift for the child at that point of time. And who knows? It's the mother who knows. The child may not know. And why does the mother do that? It is out of extreme compassion for the child that she does it. But as a child we may not be able to understand it. But that is what is required for us at that point of time. So we can relate to that and say, anything that we get at any point of time, whatever as though God gives us is for our own benefit, and we have to make best use of it actually. All of you know this small fable where a minister of a king always says, whatever happens, it's God's will, God's will, God's will, it is good only like it's good. And he keeps on saying that all the time. And one day the king has said, you come early in the morning, we have to go for hunting expedition. Only the minister and the king will go. Early in the morning you should come, he says. And early in the morning before leaving for the hunting expedition, the king, nobody is there, he cuts the fruit to eat before he goes, and when cutting the fruit he cuts his finger. His finger gets cut completely, one finger, and he is extremely going through pain. And the minister then just comes, and there he sees what has happened, and he, as usual, he says, all for good, God is great, it is his will, like that. The king gets irritated, my finger is completely cut here, and you say God is great, all for good, and all in anger what he does is that he puts the minister in the prison. And he goes on the hunting expedition alone. And he goes extremely far and he meets a set of people who meets means he gets caught by them. They are a set of people who will give Narabali or Narameda, who give human sacrifice. And they catch hold of this king today, and they are going to give to their goddess this human sacrifice only. This king, he is helpless, nobody is there to even protect him. And they tie him up, and then finally when the pujari or the priest comes to make the offer, he examines and he finds that one finger is missing. And then he scolds them, don't you know that whoever, whatever we offer to God, it must be perfect, whether it is a fruit, and in this case it's a man. He is an imperfect person because his finger is not there. So leave him and release him, like that he says. And the king cannot believe his luck. He gets released, and then immediately his thought goes to the minister. He says, all for good, all for good. This is what it is, I didn't understand, So he goes there first to his kingdom, his palace, and sees the minister in the prison, releases him and begs his forgiveness. And then he asks, I understand what has happened for me is for my good, but why did you have to unnecessarily suffer? He again says, meaning the minister had to suffer in prison, like, don't you see, it is all for good, God is great. If you had not put me in the prison, I would have come with you. And they would have given me as a sacrifice because I am perfect and you are imperfect. So what has happened is actually really good. God, whatever has been given to you at any point of time, that is the perfect thing that is being given to you. This ultimate trust and faith we must have, and you can understand it only when you see how the law of karma functions. And in a dispassionate way, though he makes it function, very compassionately he wants to give everything to us, whatever is required at that point of time. And he knows how much a child can take and how much adult can take, so he will not feed a child like an adult also, So, great Jove Laodamia does not leave his gifts imperfect. Spectre though I be, I am not sent to scare or deceive thee, but in reward of thy fidelity. So you have also earned it by and here one point needs to be made for it. It is a great virtue being talked about in our scriptures also, and it is there in the poems, and we see in the West also. In Tirukural again, Thiruvalluvar says, an ideal situation in the country is where there are 3 times rains happening in the month. 3 times means not literally, on an average, once in 10 days it should rain, means that is a perfect kingdom. Okay? And so 3 times, they say in Tamil, Mummari. Mummari means 3 times, Mari means rain. Mummari means 3 times rain. And he says, rain will happen in a country properly when things are perfect, when things are conducive. Even in Gita it says, Yajñāt bhavati parjanyaha. So there he talks about 3 things that should be perfect. One of the rains is when the Brahmins uphold the texts of the Vedas properly. It is for them it will come. For them means because of them it will come. Second is based on the dharmic ruler it will come. The king has to be perfect. And third is, he says, The woman who maintain that fidelity, for them it will come. So they are kept at that high level of a high level learned Brahmin who is going to maintain the Vedas for the sake of the whole universe. The king who has to rule perfectly for all dharmas to be protected, under whose umbrella everything will function properly. And most importantly, you cannot relate to it. Somebody is there in the house taking care of the home and other things, and she is just focused on her husband and doing the household activities. That's about all. But look at the power given to that also. It is because of that rain comes, and that is going to be what is being done is there is a conducive atmosphere by which the world itself sustains. That is the power that has that power. And we have seen so many examples in our Purana and Itihas also. It is because whatever be said and done, she has that fidelity towards Protesiláus. That concentrated, concerted effort and power that you want to call it tapas or whatever it is, it has its own reward. It is in reward of thy fidelity. And very interestingly he says, you got your reward, right? And something also did my worth obtain, for fearless virtue bringeth boundless gain. I also did obtain for whatever I did as karma. And what is that? For fearless virtue bringeth boundless gain. Boundless gain. Boundless gain is actually referring to sort of that infinite. Let us not even relate to that with reference to a poem like this where self or self-realization, all these need not be talked about, though we can relate to it from Vedantic point of view. See, when you work towards anything, the object of the desire has to come to you. Okay, and yajna is the means. We saw that in the Weekend with Wisdom also, where in Bhagavad Gita he says, Kankshanta karmanam siddhim yajanta iha devataha. The moment you sacrifice to God's desiring the objects of pleasure in the world, you will get it. And how do you get it? Kshipram, just like that you will get it. Kshipram hi manushe loge siddhir bhavati karmaja. Siddhir bhavati karmaja means success is born of action. So any person who puts in the action is going to get the results. So let us say a person, it is not about, here let us not talk about selfishness or unselfishness, who has put in the effort to read and how to answer properly everything in the exam. If he has done, the results is going to come. He is the first person. Whether he is, how he is feeling about the success, whether he is egoistic, whether he shares with his friends, all that is not the point of discussion here. So we said in the success also, if you have concentration, if you have consistency, the success is automatic. It has to come. Every unit action is done properly with concentration. The group of actions is directed towards the goal. Why will it not come? Success is there automatically. But the real success, the third element of success, which is spiritual aspect of success also, where you feel, we said that by getting that object I will be happy. So when you are internally happy also, that success is complete. So you may get first rank, but that does not guarantee that you get peace of mind also, because that has to do with the attitude with which you do the action also. And that is where cooperative endeavor comes, and that is the essence of yajna. Yajna is it is translated as sacrifice, but yajna is the way by which you do an action from a higher level of consciousness. It has no equivalent in English. Sacrifice, though we understand as the nearest word, you must not confuse it with normally how in Christianity, let us say, sacrifice is used. It is a level of raising your consciousness to the higher level and functioning. That is what is the spirit of yajna. Swamiji very simply puts it like open the door and say après vous. Say after you. That attitude that you come first. So when you are able to do that, bring others into your consciousness and do your actions with them in mind. So in other words, you are injecting the element of unselfishness in your action. And what is the connection here? It is the unselfishness that rids you of all your fear. Fear is a product of selfishness. Fear is a direct product of selfishness. Wherever, whoever, however great he may be with reference to money, with reference to people around him, if he is to the core selfish, you cannot take the fear out of him. Contrary to this, the other side is also true, that the more unselfish you become, the more fearless you become. The quality of a divine person in the 16th chapter starts with abhayam. Abhayam is complete fearlessness. That is the quality of a spiritual person. Okay. So fearless virtue bringeth boundless gain. And what causes this fear is this, of course, from Vedantic point of view, we know it starts from ignorance basically. In any ignorance there is fear, isn't it? In a dark room you are afraid, actually you do not know. Or suppose you have a stomachache and you do not know what is the cause, you are afraid. Only when the doctor gives some examines and says, oh, it's gas trouble or something, you are relieved. Otherwise there is a fear because it's ignorance. That ignorance manifests as selfishness. So the moment selfishness comes, fear comes actually. Dasharatha, who was extremely unselfish king and other thing, and he would even go to gods to help them, like that was his power and courage. Moment that attachment to Rama or his son, that aspect alone comes, he is extremely afraid what will happen to him. So he is very afraid in front of Parashurama. Why that happens? Because in that area where there is an extreme selfishness of our attachment, the fear will be there. And that further manifests as cruelty to others, that destructive nature comes, isn't it? You see all the carnivorous animals are extremely afraid, and they are because they are constantly destroying others. And the moment you have the object of your desire had with you and you are fulfilled, that selfish, what will happen to this, will I lose it, that fear comes. So anything that is there to do with your selfishness in some form or the other, there will be fear. A sense of otherness comes. That is why in an alien land, when you suddenly land up and there are big white men or black men like that, and you are really feeling a sense of fear there, afraid, you are afraid. But think about it, when Swami Ramatirtha went to America, Swami Vivekananda went to America, totally alien land, with no money with them. What are they going to do for the next meal also, they do not know. Like that they went. But was there an ounce of even fear in them? No. Why? Because when they landed there, they did not feel that they are going to alien land at all, because there is no sense of otherness at all. Otherwise, why will the words from Swami Vivekananda come as brothers and sisters of America? Because he really felt like that only, you know. So wherever there is oneness, wherever there is unselfishness, there is no fear at all. Fear goes away. And that fearless thing, that virtue that you have, that will bring you boundless gain. Actually, it is going to give you finally the infinity itself, but it is going to give you everything in life. See, what we are afraid of in that selfishness is what will happen if I let go of this. But actually, once you let go, only you understand that everything else comes to you. And that is what is symbolically even understood in the episode of I think in the Old Testament, where Moses, Old Testament or New Testament, I don't know. Moses is seeing a snake, and voice of God prompts him, catch hold of that snake, catch hold, come on, catch hold. He is afraid, extremely afraid. The voice prompts him again, catch hold of it. He is extremely afraid again. Finally he says, come on, catch hold, and he plunges and catches hold of the snake. Because he is afraid of the poisonous snake, but now he catches hold. Once he catches hold of the snake, magically that snake transforms itself into a staff, a magic staff with which he performs miracles, is the story. Now the interpretation is, what is that snake? That's your own ego. You are extremely afraid to catch hold of that. So you know by this knowledge that it says, come on, conquer it, conquer it. See, the rule is this, or the law is this. You catch hold of only your ego, you will lose everything in life, for sure. You just let go your ego. You just let go your small self. Everything else has to come to you. This is the law. This is as simply stated, may be very difficult to practice, but this is the law. So, fearless virtue bringeth boundless gain. In the same Gita, 3rd chapter, Karma Yoga, he says, Anena prasavishyadvam yeshavos prishta kamaduk. He says, Sahayajna prajasrishtva purovacha prajapati. When the Prajapati, the creator, created mankind, he gave them a birthday gift and said, I give you this capacity to do yajna. Yajna is the A birthday gift I am giving you. By this may you prosper. This is the milch cow. Milch cow is our Kamadhenu. You go to Kamadhenu, anything and everything it will give. Right, like that it is. So you can get anything and everything with this spirit of yajna. That's what it is. Fearless virtue bringeth boundless gain. And same point is iterated by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita in 2nd chapter, where he says, for a Kshatriya, a war that comes to him unsought is the open doorway to heaven. And that is what they are supposed to do. And he has done that and he has gained that. So that is what he is recalling. For fear, and what he is experiencing now is a great, a great gift at that level. He has left, or his body has left this worldly thing, and he has entered the heaven, as it were, and all that is, but that plunge he had to take for getting this. It is not for the sake of heaven he did, it is his obligation to do, and he did, and that brought him so much gain. For fearless virtue bringeth boundless gain. Lesson for us here is, you have to have that capacity to take the plunge and catch hold of the higher. That's all it is. Whatever is required to be done at that level, just take the plunge and do it. And you know not what you are going to get. Actually, the whole kingdom belongs to you. Why are you holding on to a small plate and say this only is mine? Actually, like that it is. You are the supreme self, the infinite self are you, and that is what is going to be revealed to you by this Vedantic knowledge. You need to have that courage and plunge into that divinity, as it were. Fearless virtue bringeth boundless gain. Again, relatively, to the extent that you are inspired about any higher ideal in life, to that extent the lower things are taken care of. A person who works for his company, he is to that extent rewarded. A person who works for his country, he need not worry about anything. A boundless gain come to him at that level. And when you extend it to say that it is absolutely, ultimately the self, you get that also fully. Like that it is. One must be smart enough to understand this and make that proper investment. For fearless virtue bringeth boundless gain. Thou knowest, the Delphic oracle foretold that the Greek who touched the Trojan's strand should die, but me the threat could not withhold. A generous cause a victim did demand, and forth I leapt upon the sandy plain, a self-devoted chief by Hector slain. You know that the Delphic oracle, it foretold, what was the prediction? It says that the first Greek who touched the Trojan strand should die. That is the prophecy. But me, that threat could not withhold. I am not going to be bound by that threat, as it were. He is a true valorous Kshatriya, and that is what is a characteristic of a Kshatriya. He is not afraid of, a Kshatriya is one who is not afraid of his death. He does not care for his life. For a righteous cause, he will not take a step back from the war. So he is true to his spirit. And what? A generous cause a victim did demand. As far as he is concerned, it's a righteous war where he needs to participate. And everybody knows this prophecy. And for that, somebody has to jump first. A victim, as it were, that situation demanded. And therefore, what he did, I leapt upon the sandy plain. Therefore, I knew it and I leapt upon the beach there, a self-devoted chief. That is, he is referring to himself, by Hector slain. Hector is the great hero on the other side, the prince of Troy. Maybe in this whole war, I think Achilles is the greatest hero. Next to him is this Hector, and in a duel, I think Achilles kills Hector, is what is shown in Troy also. I do not know. And Hector, who is the prince of Troy, kills Protesiláus. Supreme of heroes, bravest, noblest, best, thy matchless courage I bewail no more. Which then, when tens of thousands were depressed by doubt, propelled thee to the fatal shore, Thou foundest, and I forgive thee. Here thou art, a nobler counsellor than my poor heart. But thou, though capable of sternest deed, wert kind as resolute, and good as brave, and he whose powers restores thee hath decreed thou shouldest elude the malice of the grave. Redundant are thy locks, thy lips as fair as when their breath enriched Thessalian air. That's what Thessaly is, the country where he was the king. Supreme of heroes, bravest, noblest, best. Thy matchless courage I do not bewail of this anymore. I have no doubt about your courage. And when thousands of people may have doubts as to what is going to happen, whether I should jump or not, various things that might have gone in their minds, your courage propelled you to that fatal shore. Okay? And here you are, I am not able to console my heart. So you are here to console my heart. You are a nobler counselor than my poor heart. My heart is not able to console me. But you are here as a counselor coming to help me also. And I forgive thee. She says, I forgive thee means, after all, you have left me and you have died not thinking about me, but I understand, I forgive thee, because it is the cause that has prompted you to do this. But thou, though capable of sternest deed, were kind as resolute, good as brave. See, you are no doubt brave, but did you think of me? Are you good to me also? You are resolute, so strong in your will, but were you kind also? Did you think about that a lady is there, wife is there, and her affection is also there, I need to cater to her also? But whatever said and done, now, he whose power restores thee hath decreed thou shouldst elude the malice of the grave. Why it is now okay for me is that the Supreme Lord has given the permission and he has passed the law, as it were, that you can escape the grave now. In other words, you need not be dead anymore. You have been brought back to life. So, redundant are thy locks, thy lips as fair as when their breath enriched the Thessalian air. So don't come to me with this type of makeup. Come to me with the original makeup that you used to be when you are the prince, because you are back in your life again. So this is what her, she has sort of in her attachment forgotten that he is here only for 3 years, for a small period of time, and she says, you are back, you should be there with me, and therefore remove all your this type of blocks, whatever be the setup there, because he is now a heavenly person, you remove all those things and you resume your original way of dressing, and that is her request. No spectre greets me, no vain shadow this. Now you have spoken, okay, no spectre greets me, no vain shadow this. Come blooming hero, place thee by my side. Give on this well-known couch one nuptial kiss. To me this day a second time thy bride. Jove frowned in the heaven. The conscious Pashe threw upon the roseate lips a Stygian hue. She says, since you have greeted me, since you have spoken to me, you are not a vain shadow, you are not a spectre or a ghost, you are a real person, no vain shadow this. You see that how she is totally caught up in her, just the surface love of Protesiláus, which is through the body of the Protesiláus, that's all it is, okay. Come blooming hero, place thee by my side. So she becomes now extremely sensuous. Give on this well-known couch one nuptial kiss, to me this day a second time thy bride. Now Jove did not send Protesiláus for this purpose. So he frowned there in the heaven, and maybe he looked at the goddess there, Parshe, who is the in charge of colors, who is the goddess of colors. So she threw upon the lips of Protesiláus a Stygian hue, a very ugly black thing she made his lips to make sure nothing of that sort happens, What happens next and what is the real wisdom that Protesiláus gives, we will take it up in the next class.
Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.